All right, folks, what is going on? It's episode 319 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk about this word called tanking. Why tanking is not an option, why people like to use that word, and what is up with this? Why? I just want to know why people think it's an option. I just don't understand it. We're going to get into all of that and just have a quick discussion about that. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller once again. I talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, and Georgia Southern is doing pretty good as far as their practices and getting ready for spring football. If you want to find out any of what they're doing, you can go ahead and go to the Georgia Southern football Twitter, and they put up clips on what they're doing in practice, and it looks really good. Those kids are working hard, and it looks like coaches getting them ready for the spring game and the football season. So it's going to be really, really cool to see how that plays out. Well, if this is your first time here and you want to listen to other avenues of this show, because I don't just be on YouTube, I'm also on Rumble, and you can also find me on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google, or any of your other favorite platforms that you may find this. Just hit First and Frame Rate, so I should pop right on up. And if you want to listen to the audio side of this, those are your options. Also, if you don't mind helping the show grow, we're at episode 319. If you want to continue to help us grow, you can donate. All the links are down in the description of all of these platforms. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the show. Let's have this discussion. Tanking. What is up with this? Why people want to talk about tanking and this other word that they like? You got some fans that really want to talk about this whole situation about rebuild. Oh, it's a rebuild. Like even if they said that, how does that make you feel? Even if that was the case, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're out here to win football games. I mean, that's all it is. We're here to win football games. So with that being said, rebuilding just comes into the personnel that you bring in, and whatever the case may be that happens behind that. Regardless of that, you're gonna have to, if you're getting new faces on the team, that's a rebuild. They may not want to use the wording, but who cares? You know what's going on, so it doesn't matter. The main thing is you want to get out there and compete. And some people that are in the world of Atlanta Falcon fans, and I've seen this with other teams as well, so it's not just exclusive to our fan base. You see people who are just like, okay, we're not good enough, so just lose every game. And I find that very interesting. Like, why would you want a product out there that just deliberately want to lose and tank? Oh, there's a good player that's going to be in the draft next year, and we should try to get him and let that player, in some cases, in most cases, let that brand new player that comes in who was great in college come in and lose more games. It's just, I don't understand it. I mean, I guess when you get a generational talent, I guess it offsets at the end of the day the mentality. It makes it seem like it offsets because you tanked and now you got, let's say, Bryce Young or something like that. You get Bryce Young in here and you may have one more season, or at the minimum, you may have one more season where you lose a handful of games again. Or you may get that rookie in here, and he's already stacked with a lot of other players that's around him, and now you're going to feel that you can win football games. So that's the mentality of tanking. And I mean, you look at teams like the 76ers. The 76ers done this for years. They done it. They tanked like I'm not going to say they tanked, but there's high evidence that they did. It's a lot of evidence to say that they did. Maybe they did. And you see where they got them. They're still struggling to an extent. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Atlanta Hawks. You know what I'm saying? But, that's another story for another day. But when it comes to the world of football, you don't tank. You don't tank. I mean, you can look at teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are, I'm not going to say they're tanking. They're just losing games. And you see where they are. I mean, they basically blew up their team 5-6 years ago when they was in the AFC Championship game. And you look at them now. You look at the Jets. Jets are not deliberately tanking. They're just bad. So why would you, want to be in that world of purgatory where you're winning 4 games a year because you're calling yourself tanking and you just can't get out of that level of purgatory? Like, what happens if you say you're going to tank and it doesn't work out? Then you're going to be like the teams I just mentioned. I mean, do people do this when they are, at work? Or do they do this in their real life? Like, okay, I'm not going to make it this day, so I'm just going to fall back. But when I do, when I do get it right, I'm going to get it right. No, you keep pushing at it every day. You keep working hard every day. There's no throwaways in any aspect of, production. There's no throwaways. So when the Falcons come in and say, hey, we're going to sit here and continuously try to build a team that's ready to compete and win football games, I have no problem with that. If the outcome turns out to say that we don't win games, then you go down swinging. You don't just sit here and say, we're just going to put a product on the field and we know we're going to lose every game, then is what it is. And we'll be back when we get a top 3 pick. And then when we get that top 3 pick, it's going to make everything all better. No, I mean, look, right now, Bryce Young or any of these other quarterbacks, because we got a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year. I think they're more talented than this season. I mean, this level of quarterbacks that we got in this upcoming draft. But not one quarterback turns everything around right away. They don't turn things around right away. The whole situation with Joe Flacco and Matt Ryan, that was literally an anomaly. Now, you look at these other quarterbacks that are out here now, the Josh Allens, the Justin Herberts, the Pat Mahomes. I want y'all to understand that they went through growing pains. It was not instant success. I mean, the Chargers, they look good, but they didn't get that far. You don't want to remember what the Josh Allen days looked like prior to him being the quarterback he is. Like the first 2 seasons, I mean, it was rough. It was pretty rough. I think Pat Mahomes did very well as a rookie. I think he did I think he did pretty well as a rookie. And I think he may be on that level where you look at a Joe Flacco or a Matt Ryan where they come in right away and they win double-digit winning seasons. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time like that. Yeah, you want to have a quarterback that you can build around, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm dead serious. There's nothing wrong with that, but you just don't want to go through that process of saying, hey, we're deliberately just going to just drop everything and just do that. When it comes to the Falcons can still do that. The Falcons can still continue to build around Mariota. Nobody wants to really talk about that, but they can do that. I mean, they got him on the cheap. He still can play some ball. And, so you can still build around him and be okay. So don't be surprised. Like, seriously, I talked about this yesterday on the show. If they move up in the draft, yeah, that's still a possibility. But don't be surprised if they don't. And they stick with Mariota throughout his contract, 2022 and 2023. I mean, it's an option. But what's not an option is tanking. That's not an option. You still have to put a product on the field and win football games. Casey Hayward already said this in an interview. He's here to win games. Damian Williams is here. He's already said they're here to win games. I'm pretty sure all of these guys that they signed are here to win football games. Marcus Mariota has something to prove. You know what I mean? You don't sign players to 1 year prove it deals. And they're just going to sit here and just say, hey, I'm going to come in and we're going to make sure we lose every game. These guys got jobs. These guys got to put stuff on tape just in case these 1 year deals are not extended and they have to go to get to another team. And when that happens, the next team who sees them like, okay, what's up with, not Casey here because he's on a 2 year deal. Let's say, for instance, what's going on with Lorenzo Carter? Yeah, he signed a 1 year deal. He's out there throwing away games because he's not giving all his effort. Why should we sign him for? Why should he get signed to another team? Damian Williams, he's not running as hard enough. He's not doing what he's supposed to do on the field because he's throwing away games. He's dropping passes. He's not running the route correctly. He's not picking up blocks. He's doing his imitation of Devontae Freeman. So they're not looking to sign him. These guys got lives that they want to prolong their NFL career. You're not just going to sit there and throw away games and then wondering why you're not getting a job at the next spot. Why would the Falcons want to re-sign you if you're going to throw away games? I mean, this is not you really think this is a situation like their owner in Miami where they're paying people to throw games, allegedly? I mean, we got to really understand this. I mean, you got guys who played hard: Isaiah Oliver, Eric Harris, Grady. I mean, we can go to the veterans: Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett is not coming. He's not coming back every season to lose games. You don't. I mean, regardless, this season that's coming up is going to be a tough schedule. I mean, we got the Cardinals coming into play. You got the Browns coming to play. That's interesting. Deshaun Watson possibly going to be playing against us. I don't know what his suspension is going to be like. San Francisco's coming in. The Bears. You got the Chargers coming in. The Steelers. So we got some high level competition coming in, and it could be a possibility to where that we don't win these games, because even though I commend Terry Fontenot and them, and they're doing their best to put a team together. They're putting a fairly decent team together. I can't knock that. I like the team that they're putting together, but at the same time, I know these other teams that we're playing against, they're better. I know a lot of these teams are better. We talked about this when the schedule came out. You know what I mean? So we right, the schedule hasn't come out, but we know who our opponents are. You know, so when we're playing against teams like, when we're playing against teams like the teams that are in the AFC North and the NFC West, it's not going to be easy. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you just sit there and just, okay, these teams are better, so we're just going to sit here and fall back. No. I'm looking at the schedule from last year. A lot of these games outside of the Dallas and the Patriots game, they were fairly competitive. Maybe the 49ers game, there wasn't. We lost a lot of games by like 7 points or less. I think we probably like 4 or 5 games that we lost about, a bigger margin. We are, even though it's going to be a totally different team now. We're a totally different team. We're not going to be the same team as last year. But I mean, we don't know what we're looking into, and I think that's one thing. I think a lot of people not knowing what's ahead of them is one of the reasons why they just throw their hands up and say, "Hey, forget it. Why don't we wait till we know what we have and go from there?" This is why a lot of people say, like, hey, we should go ahead and tank and get another, get one of these top quarterbacks next year, because we know what we're working with. We don't know what Marcus Mariota's going to do. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if Mike Davis could bounce back. I think one of the only things that's really only thing that's really concrete on the offense is Cordell Patterson, Kyle Pitts, and the level of the offensive line play. Which I will say this. The offensive line isn't as bad as people think it is. No, and I'm not saying that to be biased. I'm dead serious. Let me look at this real quick. Sorry for the. I want to look at these pro football references right quick. I want to look up. Let's see, 2021. Per game. Yeah, I don't think that the offensive line is as bad as it is. I truly believe that they've gotten better by the end of the season. because they were abysmal at the beginning of the season. They were really bad. But I will give them a lot of credit that they've done a little bit better. They gave up 40 sacks to Matt Ryan, got sacked 40 times this past year. I want to see what that is on a game-by-game basis. I really want to see that, what it was on a game-by-game basis. I'm really interested to see that. But nevertheless, I think the offensive line just need a little bit, they need a little bit of help. I mean, obviously they do. But I don't think the line is that bad. So I think when you look at all the the talent on the field, offensive wise, you're just probably looking at Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson. They're probably like the two consistent. And when it comes to defense, you got AJ Terrell. Casey Hayward's going to be that consistent guy. Grady Jarrett's going to be who he is. Everybody else is kind of like an anomaly because Deion Jones would be there, but we just don't know. But so I understand why people will sit here and be like, okay, I understand why people feel this way, and I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. It's kind of crazy not to think that way. But at the same time, you have to figure out, I ain't going to say you have to figure out. You have to trust your team. You have to trust what's going on. And it may suck. I know there's some people on Twitter right now saying how bad Terry Fontenot is and Thomas Dimitroff was better. And, I'm not going to get into all that. But I will say that the moves that Terry Fontenot is making are actually pretty solid. In my opinion, I think they're pretty solid. So we're just going to have to see what the product is on the field. It's only their first year putting moves together. And I think what they got going on is what they got going on is pretty special. I think they got something that can actually be something special. I don't think it's something that's going to be really big and significant right away, but I don't think this is a situation where you just throw everything away and just worry about getting a top 5 pick once again next year. I just don't see that. When I'm looking at this before, I'm gonna get ready to close this out. But when I'm looking at this as far as the offensive line, because this is something that I really thought from the beginning that the Falcons should, touch upon. I felt like the Falcons should touch upon this. Was the offensive line? I really thought that this was going to be one of the things that they're going to go after in the beginning of the season, of the off season, was going to draft somebody in the offensive line. On draft somebody on the offensive line. So I'm looking here, like, based on the middle of the season, they got a little bit better as far as Matt Ryan getting sacked. It was fairly consistent throughout the entire season. I think the only thing that got better was he wasn't getting hit as much. He wasn't getting hurries was pretty much the same throughout the season. And the sacks was pretty much there, but as far as him getting hit, there pretty much wasn't it wasn't as much. So the offensive line, for the most part, just played consistently throughout the season as far as him getting hit 40 times. That's way too many times. I felt like the play was a little bit better, but from the numbers, it just doesn't see that. Now the eye test, from what I've seen, it seemed like it was better, because at the end of the day, when you're getting hit less, it looks good. But at the same time, when you still getting sacked consistently throughout the season, 3 times a game. I think the Buffalo game, he got sacked 5 times that game. And the Saints game was another 3 times. The last 4 games was basically on par with everything else throughout the season. But the hits and the pressure, the hits went down. So I guess that's what I mean where, I don't know. I just, based on what I've seen throughout the season, it looked like they was getting better based on the beginning of the season. Because the beginning of the season, it was terrible. Matt was basically running for his life by then. But at the end of the season, as the season was closing out, just seemed like he was getting better. It was getting better as far as protection. But nevertheless, they're going to have to fix that. They're going to have to fix it. And when you look at this whole situation with like, say, people think they should tank or rebuild. The main thing with that is, if You get Mariota a little bit of protection. He doesn't turn over the ball. We're talking about a whole different ball game. You're literally talking about winning football games if you can have a little bit better protection in for the most part, mainly not turn over the ball. And I think that's one thing I always said about Marcus Mariota when he first came to Atlanta. I said the main thing with that is if he doesn't turn over the ball, you have a chance to win every game that's out there. The quarterback just cannot turn over the ball. But I've kind of gone on a rabbit hole as far as quarterback protection and the quarterback in general. But before I get out of here, I want to say this. Look, tanking is not an option. It's not. You just cannot tank. We got to understand that you in this business to compete. You're in this business to win football games. You're in this business to be better every day. And not only in this business, but every aspect of production. You don't get in the level of production in any aspect of life to sit there and say, okay, today I'm going to lose. If you end up losing, so be it. But when you are in the process, I ain't gonna say in the process of losing, but in the level or in the art of being defeated, you go down swinging. You don't sit here and just say, hey, it's all good, I'm going to just fall back. No, we don't do that. So hopefully you guys will understand this. If you like this content, hit the like button, share this content, subscribe to any of these avenues if you can. Also, I advise you to subscribe to more than one because you never know what will happen to one platform. Something may happen on YouTube, but I'm still on Rumble, vice versa. Something may happen on Anchor, but I'm still on Apple. You just never know. So subscribe to more than one and give me a 5-star rating if you can. If not, give me some feedback. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Did I go off the rails here? I'm not knowing what I'm talking about. Do I need some more education on this? Let me know because we're all here to help each other. And not only that, I want to give the best information possible and I want you to give me the best feedback possible. So hopefully you guys enjoy your Friday and just continue to watch this team. Just watch them. I think this team is going to be a lot better than advertised. And hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your Sunday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the rest of your weekend. I'm going to get some more things done around here. And I will see you guys on the next one. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.